All right, let's start with the pledge. First of all, thank you all for coming. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all for coming. I am Byron, and I'm going to chair a committee called Byron Forward. And this is to do a lot of things outside of, like, just for the residents of Byron, just to kind of bring everybody together. We'll talk about some grant funding, we'll talk about some fun things, we're going to talk about just things that we can do to get us all back to being a community that knows each other and likes to spend time together. So that is my purpose, and if you all could introduce yourselves, that would be awesome.
Marilyn Weiner, resident of South Byron.
Okay, welcome.
Hi, good evening. Ben Rakuya, part of the town's communication board, and over up on Warboys on the northern side.
Perfect.
Lori Iverson, and I've been a resident of Byron for 65 years.
Yay!
Hi. Oh, I'm Candace Hensel, I'm the town of Byron supervisor, and I'm happy to help the residents in the community any way, shape, or form that I can in moving the town in a forward direction.
Tom, just pull your chair right up to the table. This is very non-formal.
Okay, I thought.
Well, it's okay. This is how we start, small and grow bigger.
Okay. Terry, introduce yourself.
I am Terry Maid. And what else would I
I just gave a little spiel about what the Byron Forward Committee is going to be doing. It's going to be doing just a lot of work out there with the residents of the community to try to have some fun stuff going on, but we're also going to look at some grants and things like that we can, this way a little, because you're in the way of the camera. We're also going to look at some grants and some funding and some things to help the town move forward also, hence the name Byron Forward. So, Tom, do you want to introduce yourself to everybody?
I'm Tom Salamano, been here since '96.
Raised a family here. And our camera woman is
Barbie
Barbie.
Starwitz.
Thank you. Yay. So, for the first thing I'd like to talk about is the lack of Heritage Festival this year. So I want to know what everybody's thoughts are on just doing a family picnic at the park. Like a dinner time. The fire department has the, what's that thing called where y'all run? The 5K.
We all run.
Not we, but I said they. The fire department's having a 5K, but other than that, there's nothing else going on this year. So I wanted to know if, even though it's only a month out, if we could kind of put something together to just do a picnic in the park. Everybody bring your dinner and a blanket and let's hang out and do some things, and maybe if we got in touch with like the fire department or the museum to see if they wanted to like sell hot dogs or hamburgers or something like that. So what is everybody's thought on that? Just a very low key.
Or even have rent a movie screen. Have a picnic and a movie. Dinner and a movie.
Oh, that's kind of cool.
I actually have a 12-foot blow-up screen and a projector, so if you guys want it, you're more than welcome to it.
Perfect.
Would need to know if there's electricity or a generator. That's the only thing we would need.
Okay.
Right.
I believe that there's electricity available over there at the park. I don't know how the access is, and it may go with the pavilion rental.
Yes,
And
if
I don't know
we
the
rent
details.
the pavilion, because I've rented it before for family reunions, if we rent the pavilion, then we have access to the electricity.
I don't know, however, if screening a movie has any copyright stuff, I'll be honest. And I don't know how to go about looking into that.
I know other places have done it. I know they've done it at Taylor Grant several times. They have like movie night that they've done it. And I don't know,
Yeah,
the school's also done it.
I believe if you're not charging for it, there's no issue there.
Okay, just, I was going to throw the
No, I'm
monkey wrench in the pile there.
Yep.
The only thing with the movie, that means darkness and later in the evening, so it's pushing it out of the family time, just to let, you know.
Well, you can postpone it till the fall when it starts getting dark a little earlier, but it's not gonna work very well.
We'll have it in November when it's dark by
Yeah,
5 o'clock,
exactly.
so what time is sunset nowadays?
So whatever you're talking, like the last
About
week
quarter
in
to
July,
It was,
like we usually, like the last weekend?
Yeah, I think it
I'm sorry?
was,
I'm trying to see the calendar.
I think it was
Who
Yeah. I got
spearheaded that prior years?
the 27th of July. I believe most of the coordination for Heritage Festival fell under the town clerk, based on conversations I had had with her before.
Mhm.
But with our new town clerk, I don't know if she's got the bandwidth now to even think about something like that. And I kind of would like to see something happen, just to kind of let people know that we are still a town and we want to get together and have some fun together. And so it would be July 27th. Is everybody, first of all, available on that day?
Okay.
All day?
We can hope for rain, but that won't help us either.
Right.
Yeah, I personally will not be around. My daughter is running a booth up in Spencerport Canal Days. But I'd be more than happy to let you guys utilize the equipment.
It's July 27. That's the same day as the Genesee County Fair and the Orleans County Fair. So you're gonna have limited people that want to
And the
come out.
Spencerport Canal Days.
Yeah.
So that
It
date
is,
might,
well, it is the summer though, remember that.
Right, we have.
I think we were
course.
competitive against everything.
yep.
Well, the only reason why I chose that day is because that's the day that of the,
Historically, it was the.
It's
you
always
know,
been.
the
yeah.
5K race.
Gotcha.
But we could push it to a day in August
Mhm.
that might not have as much going on.
Let's see, Brockport Arts Festival is August 10th.
Is it on your personal calendar?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
This baseball season's over, I can start living again. DeWitt, they've got music in the park at DeWitt Recreation Area on the 3rd of August.
See, that was another thing that had happened in the past, and I think it was probably organized through the old town clerk, is Go Art did grants every summer, and that you would apply for the grant, and they would come in and you could have music and stuff like that, but I don't think we did any of that, and it's too late now, so that's something
Is
that
it
we
too
would
late?
have to.
Yes, it's too
Just
late.
asking, I just,
It has to be submitted before the committee, and I think the deadline is December 1st for the following year. And it has to be
so did
submitted,
it get done last year by anybody? We don't know that.
don't know.
If not, we should make note of that and make sure we put that on our calendars.
But now would be the time to
Right.
start the paperwork
And
to
if the
submit it to the
agenda
Go
is-
Art Committee.
Go Art for next year. So do we want to look at a date in August then? Because that also gives us a little bit more time to plan and actually get on, hopefully the board is an actual committee.
Mhm.
Don't do Fridays, because I got tickets July 26th.
I think Saturdays work best.
Saturdays would probably be best.
So like August 17th?
Yeah,
August
17th or
3rd.
the 24th, I would go any closer to the start of school and Labor Day.
I'm
Well,
not
and
available
colleges,
the weekend of the 17th. I'm hosting class reunions that whole weekend.
August
Oh.
3rd?
I don't think I have anything at that point.
I'm hoping we're in the playoffs, but
It's my daughter's birthday, but they usually do it together on Sunday, so.
Should we tentatively plan August 3rd?
I think at this point, whoever's here, if all's good, I think we should just pick a date at this point.
Yeah.
Other than that,
Yep.
if nobody's got anything major, and go with it, and just plan accordingly.
so we
Those
always
that can come, those that can't, and, you
And
know,
it's a good first start.
Yes.
yeah, and that's all. It's momentum.
And then if it works out well, then maybe we could look at something in the fall before it starts getting too cold or
Sure.
something.
Something that always goes well seems to be like the car shows. So for maybe in the future, people like to show off their Mustangs and their Camaros.
Actually, South Byron just had one the same day as the Bergen one.
Oh, did they?
It was- Yeah, and you gotta watch out with those, just so you know, in the summer, because they're very competitive and back and forth and stuff like that, so.
Mm.
I think the key is to keep things simple to start. Don't expect too much, because it's easy to disappoint people because they expect too much. If you're offering some socialization, I think instead of a movie, push it, make sure it's in the late afternoon, do the dinner with some music, people can go home, get their, it's not an all-day thing, it's just an event to,
Right.
you know.
Right.
Maybe set up rain plans if it rains with the fire hall.
So, yeah, music instead of a movie, dinner and music, so anybody got any, like, ins with a band?
Hey Barbie.
Or just, what about a
Oh, like Joe Ridgie with like a DJ or something like that. Does he do DJing?
I don't know, but that's something that
You could just.
you can just have a
Gilliam Green
a
does that.
variety of music without,
Formalization.
without, setup and breakdown and,
Just background noise.
right, that's what I'm, somebody's got,
I'd sing for karaoke, but y'all might not come back to that next time.
So more mainly it's gonna be like a dinner, social dinner. Dinner and social.
Picnic, yeah.
Okay.
Picnic.
Yeah, some background music
Yes,
would be
picnic in
fine.
the bars.
Yeah.
Get to know your neighbors. Put on some background music. Okay, so do we want to contact like the fire department or the museum about selling stuff, and which one would it be?
Wait a minute now, let me think. Doesn't the fire hall do euchre tournaments or something the first Saturday of the month?
I don't think in the summer.
I don't know, but we should be done before they have to be there at 7.
Okay.
Like, you know, I mean, if we started like 3:30, 3 or 4, it's not an all-day thing, it's, pop in,
3 to 7, I think, is actually pretty good.
because that,
deal.
people will be able to come if they have something to go on at 7 o'clock,
Yeah.
come and go. Consider it an
We'll be
opening
taking that
event,
whole
not a
day,
set.
and they couldn't plan something else, to go
Yeah.
on with it.
3 to 7, I can bring some cornhole or something, we have little side games or whatever,
Cornhole tournament.
Mhm.
stuff like that.
Yeah, no, they've got 2, Amanda has 2 of those
I mean, in the
sets.
public invitation, you could say, bring your yard game.
Yeah.
No real live darts.
No lawn darts.
This is a family event.
We want to
no
have
throwing
fun, but not
darts.
too much fun.
We all survived.
Right, yeah.
Seriously.
It was a whole different world back then. So would we talk, so does anybody have the fire department or with the museum? I think that the fire department did it for the music last year, but didn't you say something to me at one point about the museum doing it
The
too?
museum wanted to do a hot dog sale thing last year. They started advertising it and then it dropped away. Just thought that might be offered to somebody that wants to just come and do a hot,
To use it as a fundraiser
But I
to
don't
support
know.
the town.
well, it's a fundraiser for their own
For
event.
their own
Well,
thing.
yes, yeah, but which is part of the town,
Right.
yes.
Because the museum needs work done and they don't have the money, so.
Right?
What
I
about
think it's a
Boy Scouts and Girl Scouts? That might be another,
Invite them on and see what they wanted to do, I guess informally invite anybody if they, I don't know what the rules are for setting those things up. There might be a quick health permit, but I don't think a hot dog is a major thing. But we
Well,
look at
if
that.
one of us brought our grill and started giving hot dogs away, I don't think you need anything as long as you're not.
Yeah.
Correct, selling
But if you're selling it,
so
I'm
that
not
would be a
sure.
donation only.
I think you do have to have
Yeah.
a permit to do that, I'm sure.
Donation only. or
It
whatever.
doesn't take very much to get the health department
Right,
to come
they're-
down. It would
They're
be
very
better
easy to work with.
for
and stuff like
whoever
that.
is bringing in the food, you just let them know a couple days and then the health department will come down and issue a permit. Then everybody's safe.
Right, you have to show them proper hand washing, how you're gonna do that. Water and
Yeah.
So do we want to contact the fire department or the museum, like which order
Or both.
or both?
Everybody.
Yeah.
I would just say, yeah.
Everybody
First
in
of
the
all, you
town.
gotta check with the Parks Committee, is it, to get the date for the park?
No, it would be the town clerk. For the
For the
pavilion
rental,
rental.
Because we'd have to pay for that, the
Mhm.
$50.
But you can ask if it can be waived if it's a town of Byron.
Can ask.
Listen, if you could look into what that is, or we can find other funding sources.
I'll throw in the $50.
Sponsored by,
It's only fine.
sponsored by
Vote
the,
for Ben.
There you go.
I was gonna say the communication committee, sponsored by the communication
There
committee.
you go, that one works.
So,
Yeah.
But if you could look into, if we could get it reserved for that date.
Okay.
It's the worst case scenario is we go to a different pavilion on there.
Yeah.
That's what's going on.
I do like the Boy Scout, Girl Scout idea. They can sell brownies, cupcakes, buy bags of popcorn if they wish to, so there's an opportunity there. They're always looking for things of that nature. So.
You don't have kids in that anymore. Who does?
No.
I don't even know if we actually have a Byron group.
Yeah.
At Byron, we didn't have a Boy Scout, it was
Virgin
Virgin.
does,
Yeah.
Boy and Girl Scouts.
but I don't know if there's
I think-
actually a Byron
Chris,
troop.
They're almost
Chris
combined.
Syrian
Yeah.
is in charge of it,
It was
Byron.
50
Chris
years ago
Syrian,
when I was on it.
starts with a Y. I think that's what his name is.
Okay. All right, you can help me get in touch with
Yeah, I
him.
got the number.
Okay.
So we have,
Well, Gino Penapent was always involved in it. I know he's long since passed. There was always a Troop 13 in Byron.
By the time my kids were old enough, and I think that with your son too, it was Virgin because it wasn't big enough, so they consolidated them and everybody went to Virgin.
I know for a while Cub Scouts were meeting at South Byron, but I don't know if they still are.
All right, so that's my thought to get us going and try to get back to some communityness. Is that a word?
it is now.
It is now.
Okay.
All in favor?
All right, so next we're gonna talk about the Byron Forward Grant, but Candy, did you have something that you want to talk about first?
I would like to, since the last group discussion that we had, in lieu of the special meeting that didn't occur, I have been in contact with several different resources, I suppose, between the county and within the state in discussing the New York Forward Grant. The New York Forward Grant hasn't actually been introduced yet this year, so it's not been rolled out, so it's not part of the consolidated funding application that's due the end of July. Since speaking at the last session, I've been in contact with Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council, who Josh Kent had been in contact with last year about the New York Forward Grant, but it didn't really get off the ground. Since then, before the last town board meeting, the beginning of this month, just that day, we received an email from them offering their assistance with helping us write the grant for the New York Forward application when it would be due, which is typically would be August, probably September. So with that, there were some new requirements to this program for the New York Forward Grant. That grant is for like $4.5 million, and it encompasses a whole array of things. The problem is that,
Maybe we should go back and tell people who don't know what the New York Forward Grant is, what it is. Because I know Tom doesn't know, I don't know what Teresa.
I was here for, I'm ready for that one.
the New York Forward Grant, do you have a description in front of you? You don't, right? That's the actual, this is a copy of the application that was submitted 2 years ago, which I actually have up here. The New York Forward Grant is a Department of State funding source that was created to assist, oh, I gotta watch this instead, to assist rural and small towns revitalize their centers. Okay, it's a derivative of the
New York Main Street Grant, right?
no, the DRI, which is the Downtown Revitalization Initiative. There's too many acronyms, but it's geared, instead of like city of Batavia or the city of Rochester that were getting those funds. This is geared towards Virgin or Leroy or Byron, and it's not millions and millions and millions of dollars, it's just millions and millions of dollars. And what it does is it's put out by the Department of State, and along with the funding to do some revitalization, it also provides some guidance to the municipality at this level to bring the projects that you might want to do in your town for revitalization. It vets them out so that you're not running along and saying, oh, we want to do this, and then really it's not a feasible thing. There's some, what's the word I'm looking for? There is a, it's in there somewhere, because we used it in the original application. No, what's it called, the background of stuff. We don't have, small towns don't have planning departments that are paid to do things. We don't have the support.
Infrastructure, maybe?
Yeah, we don't have the support network that large municipalities do with funding to do things. So it leaves the small towns in a lurch to get from, oh, this would be nice, to, oh, look, we have a project. Because there's a whole lot of stuff that needs to become in the middle. Department of State steps in after you're awarded the grants, not the grants, you're invited to participate. They do all this stuff with you, and then they pick a few of the projects in this big idea that you have of revitalization in your community, and then they'll say, here's the 4.5 million we're gonna give you, we're gonna $1 million here, and $1 million here, and $1 million here, and you're gonna leverage some money from, it's kind of piecemeal. And in speaking with several different organizations or people in the state, since this original, a couple years ago, was thrown out there, that it's been recommended that we take a step back, which, going along with what the board recommended, that they don't feel we're at this stage yet. I don't believe that that's quite true, but there's some things that can change, and taking a step back would help us. So the New York Forward, I think, is something that's doable for the town, but there's stages that the town needs to go through. They're not as critical as we've been led to believe by some people that are opposed to the town moving forward. It's just, will put us in a better position to apply when the time comes. And a lot of it's got to do with preparation, and there's other sources to get us prepared to get ready for the New York Forward. If that kind of makes sense? Or no, if you're not sure what I'm talking about right now, I just spent a lot of time on the phone today with people that were telling me stuff from the top down. So
I'm understanding correctly that although this might not be the time to apply for the Byron or the New York Forward grant, this is a time to do preliminary things to get us ready to
correct.
apply.
It's not a time to just wait for
Which
someone
will
else.
fall after the period of time that a few other people are concerned about getting their projects done.
It's the groundwork that needs to be laid by a community.
The steps.
Yes, and there are plans that need to be put in place by a municipality other than just writing an application. So if everyone leaves their emails, I'll forward this. I would call it a draft copy from 2 years ago that was submitted by Josh Kent as a member of the Byron Town Council, and by George Squires, the chairperson of the Byron Planning, the planning board. They both went through it and thought that we may as well just put this out there at this time. It looked like the town didn't get it, but there's a lot of things in there that were brought from the comprehensive plan was already cited. And since this has gone forward or been submitted, the smart growth program or policies in the town have been updated by the planning department or the planning board things are already working. For people to say that, you know, we need to do this and this first, they're already underway. So to stop now and say, you know, we're not ready for this, we're not ready for possibly the application, but the process we are, and there's other things for us to look at as we go to the process to write the application. Okay, there's other things that are listed in this particular application that can be readdressed. I believe, Ben, you came on board at the end of the comprehensive plan?
Correct.
Okay, which the comprehensive plan that's constantly being talked about, which you can go on the town website and read what the town comprehensive plan is. There's a hard copy that's in the office, which is on the back. Over here you can look at, but it was adopted in 2019, okay, by the town board.
Thank you, Dan.
It was adopted in 2019 after about 4 years of the planning board creating that document. And that document is key because that document is what the town builds off of, which people don't realize. Why can't we do this? Why can't we do this? If the town does something that goes against the comprehensive plan, it's not really a legal thing, a way to go about things, okay? So the zoning laws that the planning board is currently working on need to correspond with the comprehensive plan, okay? Because it was adopted in 2019, in January, then what happened in March, I think it was the Excelsior project came to Byron. So the Excelsior project coming to Byron really makes you have to take a hard look, and it's not here yet, but it's slowly working its way to us, is that we need to really look at that comprehensive plan, and I think, and it's been spoken about at a couple of planning board meetings last year about it needing to be revised, because a lot has changed in the last 5 years across the state. So being proactive to these things is something that typically hasn't been done in the past. The town of Byron has been reactive to many things, which is why the comprehensive plan of 2019, I believe, was done in 1993 prior to that. Okay, there's a long span of time, and that really is not looked at by many officials in town in any of their decision-making processes. Looking at that comprehensive plan again would be a key factor, especially with the siting of the Excelsior project. And whether it goes forward or not, it doesn't mean that the next 30 years in Byron aren't going to go forward, so you need to plan for all of those things. So revisiting the comprehensive plan, there's funding out there for that. I think that would be the way to go, is instead of this $4.5 million looking for it now to better prepare us for that, would be, let's apply for hang on a second, glasses. There are 3 different grants that fall before applying for this moving forward that puts us in a better position for applying. One is through the Empire State Development Group, and it's a strategic planning and feasibility study grant, okay? And all these that I'm talking about right now are all due, these applications are due the end of July. Okay, so it's a lot of work, but it's in the preparation stages, and these are applying for grants to do the project. So this is getting us the funds to get people, to get a planner in here to help us with a strategic plan or a feasibility study for the 4 corners that can be then put into the New York Forward application possibly next year. So it's just putting us in a better position for that. The other one is I haven't spoken with anyone from the ESD yet. I do have the gentleman's name. I just got that this morning. But I have spoken several times with the Department of State, who administers the New York Forward grant. They have recommended that the town perhaps applies for a smart growth community planning and zoning grant that would help assist in paying for revising and updating the comprehensive plan. The last comprehensive plan that was adopted in 2019 as serving on the committee, the town paid approved $35,000 of taxpayer money to retain a, what are those firms called? MRB Group is an engineering and, what's the word?
With the consultation.
Okay, yeah, they're a consulting firm, okay, MRB Group, Wendell, Labella, all of those. The committee that was, for the comprehensive plan, put an RFP out to solicit bids on the contract to help us with that. The $35,000 was money that was budgeted by the town board, and then nothing was looked at outside of that $35,000 that was in the budget no grant funding was looked at. So it was planned for, and then just because it's in the budget, doesn't mean you don't go look for funding outside. So I'm saying let's be proactive, let's look at the application, or put the applications in, we need to do this, so let's start looking for the funds to do it, and then we can budget it, and then the funds come in as a income to fund it instead of taxpayer dollars.
So is there currently a plan to have the comprehensive plan reworked? And has that been addressed by the town board at this point?
No,
Planning for it.
no, well, it
It
was,
was the town board that actually, if I'm not mistaken, that would approve the planning board to start the process, if I'm not mistaken. I could have flipped that, but.
the town board charged the planning board with the task of doing it.
Correct.
It does not have to be by either of those entities. No one's been charged to do it. I'm just seeing how things play out, and I would recommend that it gets looked at. I'm recommending that we look into funding to help with the burden of the cost of doing it, to do it properly. The town spent $35,000 over the course of 2 years, okay, to have the comprehensive plan that you see now. The process that had to be gone through, and then the writing of it and the editing it, all that stuff, was $35,000. It's not unforeseeable to be awarded $75,000 to $90,000 in a grant to have the funding come back to the town to do this. And much like several town board members said, yes, this is, you pay up front and get reimbursed. It's reimbursable funding. But if you have to do it anyway, it's better to do it knowing that you're going to have the funds coming back to replace your coffers later than to just do it and be done.
So just to play devil's advocate,
Yeah.
if we have to put the money out first, then wouldn't that money have to be budgeted for?
It does get budgeted. It gets budgeted in the out, and then it also gets budgeted in the revenue as funding coming in from the grant. And how that works out, I'll be honest, I don't exactly know. I've seen it at some point with that NYSERDA grant that the SERA committee got. We knew we were getting it. It did get budgeted, I believe. And then it ended up going somewhere in there.
So does that request have to be done and approved by the board to move forward with trying to get that grant?
The specifics of it, I don't know. I've got like 2 weeks before the next board meeting to do it. I have not opened up those particular Department of State smart growth portal yet for that grant. Some of them need to be signed off and approved. Some of them don't. I'm also looking into, I was asked by someone what the town charter said about certain responsibilities, and that was just this afternoon, so I said I didn't know, and I had to find out where I could locate the charter. Okay, so I don't know. I do know that 2 years ago, there was no signature needed by any official at the town level for the New York Forward grant. That's why it was forwarded on by the 2 people that were on there. The town board chose not to support it, though the planning board made a formal recommendation to support it to the board, and it didn't go over. So
So it sounds to me like what we're looking at is a series of steps to take to pre-position ourselves to be in the best position that when we go apply, we can be accepted.
Correct.
So it's not, I mean, we also, how the board reacts when they think we're gonna do this now. We're really not. We're planning, pre-planning steps to take now for an application in the future.
Yes.
What are the steps though? I mean, you said there's, something has to be done by the end of July. What exactly are the steps that have to be?
By July, the
Those ones that you were
applications
talking
for the strategic planning and feasibility study that is funded through the Empire State Development and the Department of State's Smart Growth Community Planning and Zoning Grant, those applications are part of the consolidated funding application, and those have a deadline of July 30th, 4 p.m. Shuts down, can't do anything, don't beg, don't do anything.
That's
So
the
what's
one that's
involved in
gonna-
those applications?
But is that the one that's gonna get us the money for the comp plan?
That
Which I
would be
think would be
support,
step
yes.
one.
What is entailed, I've got to open up the whole packet, which I found out today that I can do, we don't have to go in the same portal hole, I suppose to say, as, we don't want to mess up anything that MRB Group is doing with the WQIP grant, which is another grant that's being applied for by the town that we've,
Already through Empire State?
no, that's through DEC.
Okay. But they use the same
The
portal?
same, these are all state-funded projects through different state agencies, use the same application process. However, I got confirmation today that if the town goes in, MRB Group will take care of what they need to here. They'll have their access point. Excuse me, the town or its representatives would go into another portal and be able to not mess with anything, because I don't want to mess with that $7 million grant, anything. And I've accessed this process twice. When the town applied several years ago, I think it was 3, for the New York Main Street grant, I'd accessed the portal for that to submit but they're all different once you get in there. It's a little confusing, but if you go on to, and you're more than welcome to look this all up, if you go under the Regional Economic Development Council's website, this opens up the whole, there's like 4 different things of 135 pages each with some brochures that help talk you through things. Some things are more technical than others. What we're asking for at this point through these grants is assistance in the planning stages still, okay? And as a small town, we need help in the planning stages. This is just gonna help us get professional help if we can get these funds.
What are the kind of things they're looking for in those applications? Are they looking for numbers, population, tax base, all that sort of stuff that we have readily available?
Some of it, yes. Some of it you have to be a little more creative. Hang on one sec.
So based on the application that they did when was it, 2 years ago?
2 years ago.
Something. I looked at what was submitted versus other applications that were submitted by other people. And what I just gave you is just a recap, and I basically took your copy and I made a copy of it.
Okay. Oh, okay.
So we can share if you want, because I only brought 5. So I renumbered them differently than the original plan. These are the 6 highlights that we need. There was 2 more on there and I took them off, only because the research I did based on other people's applications, because you can get online and you can see the winners and what they submitted and what they asked for. Basically, the blurbs I just gave you are exactly what it says in this application. The applications that got the money were a whole lot more detailed about what they were going to do with the money and how much it was going to cost. And it was the big difference between what we submitted and what was submitted by other people that actually got the grant. So I think this is where in addition to our due diligence with the comp plan and all that, we really need to go back to the basics and say, okay, with the hardware block, section 4 corners awesome described as needing attention, nature of structure and uses is less than appealing. You know, this is telling a little bit about it, but we need to tell what we want to do with it. And then how much is it going to cost? Because they want justification for that $4.5 million. Okay, you want $4.5 million, what are you going to do with it? You're going to give it more curb appeal. Well, by what? What do you want to do?
How much is willing to sell it?
Well, or, you know, that's all back, you know, if they're seeking to sell or if they want to help, you know, with the improvements on it, etc. So if we're looking at improving the 4 corners down, you know, downtown, first of all, we need to talk to everybody who owns the property. And then they had on here the fly-by-night, you know, talking about taking who has the, I don't know what you call Rogers area. Rogers area, if you take that, oh, I guess that's part of the hardware block, right? That's what they have. You know, moving him out, putting him down at fly-by-night, giving him the tools he needs to move all of his business down there, and taking that whole block and redoing it, keeping it a hardware store, maybe, all the way up to that storage building before the craft fair.
Yes.
I remember when it was a grocery store. You know, making that senior housing, you know, we've got to say what we want to do with it, and then it's got to fit with what they think we need, which is part of that smart growth. You know, we got to say, okay, well, we're going to do A, B, and C, and this is how much money. We really need to like figure out how much money it's going to cost to do that sort of stuff.
Okay. If this is even what if we choose to do at the time.
So I just took this from the original plan, you know, so then they had the Byron Hotel, what we would do with that, Fullerino's Corner. I added curb appeal because that's something that we have talked about in all the town meetings and stuff like that we need sidewalks, we need benches, we need something so that people can walk around and it has some curb appeal. And connecting the parks. Now, the one thing that was, the 2 things that were on here that I crossed out at the bottom is a municipal building and senior housing. Those projects are way outside of the scope of $4.5 million. You know, so don't even keep them in here because there's no way we're gonna.
Well, yes and no. How's that? Based on.
It'll be another grant, right?
Oh yeah,
This
this is
grant.
not supposed. This $4.5 million will, if it was the New York Forward grant, okay,
Right.
which is. I think we've agreed to move that on a little bit, so it's like next year.
Right.
So,
But this will tell us the due diligence we need to do before that point. Well, along with,
a plan, but
yes,
this plan is the New York Forward is a little more all encompassing for the plan. You only get $4.5 million towards it, which isn't. I mean, when you see all that, that's not a lot of money. It's a lot of money, but it's not a lot of money. However, it's showing that you're not just picking one thing and going with it. You're mapping out a bigger future than just $4.5 million. And if you look further in there, if I recollect, it's asking if you understand what other sources of funding you can find for your projects, so that you should be seeking those out as well, not just this.
right.
So it's leveraging, the more you can leverage other funding sources, I believe you'll see that it's a more those other communities were more favorably picked and chosen for it. So it's a complete understanding of what you want and how to get it, you know, is important. So taking that step back would help the community as a whole, I think, do so.
Yeah, and to that point of taking a step back, the 2 grants that you were referring to that are due by the end of July, who needs to submit that? When does it specifically need to be, submitted?
Okay.
And as asked earlier, what is the information that needs to be input into that?
I can't access this right now from the screen, but I can get that to you by Monday.
Okay, and is that something that we would want to have the town board look at, the planning board, or a committee such as ourselves? Who would take that responsibility on and who has the authority to do so? Can a general citizen go out there and apply for this grant for the town? Or does it have to be specific by a member of the town committee or board? Those are important things that we need to make sure that we have
Correct.
distinctly
And I don't have the
spelled out.
answer for you
Okay,
tonight.
that's fine.
You know,
Okay.
in speaking with with the Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council. I was on the phone with this gentleman, that was going to be assigned for a grant writer for the New York Forward.
Okay,
And then after the last town board meeting and the responses and the reactions from the town board members to moving forward on it right now,
yeah,
they prefer, yeah, I can read it. Doesn't sound like we have the board support to pursue option 2. And this had to do with the pro-housing communities,
okay.
which we didn't get fully talked about in the last meeting. I think it got kind of squashed.
Yep.
Without the board's support, they didn't know if we don't have the pro-housing communities designation or the startings of it, when this grant application goes in,
Mhm.
it goes in the we're not looking at it file. So they don't want to waste their time assisting us with this grant application if the town's not going to commit to at least just passing that resolution.
And that's in reference to the 2 that you mentioned that are due by the end of the
No.
year? Okay,
No, this has got to do with the New York Forward.
okay,
The New York Forward, so therefore, between not having the board's support to pursue the pro-housing communities,
yeah,
and the other real concern is a truncated timeframe. The application process recommends 6 to 9 months of engagement at best, and then, no, at best, we might get 6 to 9 weeks. The engagement, and this would be considered engagement, okay? The community support and stuff like that, so these kinds of things start. The first year, he started in a DRI for the city of Canandaigua. And because of this a little critical component, they came in second for the grant, they didn't get it,
mhm,
but we didn't have enough public input on the projects that they were moving forward to warrant them getting it the first time. So this whole time frame, it's utilizing all this time wisely for these projects.
okay.
Without public support, you won't receive strong public engagement. If anything, you might receive efforts to tank the good you're trying to accomplish.
Okay,
That's,
so the 2 that you're referring to for July again,
okay,
those have a short time frame.
then do.
Can you
They're
get
not
us?
as technically, challenging
Yep.
as a task or a project
Correct,
specific.
yep, correct. But this again is to help with comprehensive plan and giving us fundage back to, if we decide to go that route in the next year or 2.
So
So
you're,
focusing on those 2 specific grants
Correct.
you're referring to, can we find out who can, again?
yes, because
All that
in
information
here,
is required before we even talk about the community being involved, or at least
Find out
notified.
if we can.
no, I mean,
Yeah,
there's 2 components here.
yeah,
No matter what, I think we should continue on in the path moving forward as a community in any direction forward for any planning. I don't know how much,
makes sense.
and then pull along as many other residents as we can.
Mhm.
I will look into the specifics on that because Rob asked me the same questions. Hang on a second. Oh, I don't know where he went. Oh, he's having, we don't have clarity as to whether or not you'll qualify under option 1. Does your charter grant the supervisor authority to move forward on something like this without board consensus? Is what you're asking.
Correct.
I don't have that because that was the charter I haven't found yet as of today.
Okay.
I'm not completely answering your question.
No, but
I
that's
know,
all right.
I can't answer that right now.
No,
so,
absolutely, that's fine. And again, for
and I will
those 2 specific.
pursue, between now and the next board meeting,
Yep,
if a resolution needs to be passed, it'll be prepared for that board meeting for us to proceed on.
Yep.
And where they
And
choose to,
is it required that the supervisor and/or board are on board with those 2 things you referred to for the
and
July?
it'll be the board probably, yes,
So that's
I
what
don't
we need to find out.
yes.
And if it's required, then we can bring it up to the next meeting. If it is not required, a group like this can go through and actually start preparing that and sending it in by the deadline,
Correct,
with the hopes of the possibility of getting that information.
yes.
Fair enough?
I'm gonna open a hornet's nest.
Order it away.
Do you think the museum would have a charter?
None of the town.
Is there a reason nothing on here is South Byron?
Is there a reason?
Or
There's
is it
not a
because of
specific
the way this
reason.
is designed, it's just like a,
This was, that particular one, knowing, I think in the initial part of it, it says it was a focus on Byron Center. And there was no input by anybody up to that point about anything specific.
So there's the town engagement she was referring to earlier, so.
So with that, in driving by there recently, I did note a couple things that, well, more than a couple, but, you prioritize things as they come on your plate. So, there's a vacant lot that could be utilized there. There's a lot more, once you've already taken some of these things off your list, more things come up.
well, I
So,
didn't know if it was just because, no one
So-
brought it up, or is it because when this all is for a certain confined area, that's how they want it? A
Both.
defined area.
both, because I had someone send me information saying that we shouldn't pursue it because we don't have a concentrated downtown. Sorry, my stomach had to be much. We don't have a concentrated, typical downtown, but we have to make the most of what we have. And this is only a starting point,
I think we
And
have
you have to
now.
start somewhere.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
Now
I
at Dollar
disagree.
General, we have more
Dollar General.
than,
We have Dollar
we didn't have that
General,
2 years ago.
Crosby's.
So,
But
It's
this
straight line
is the
design.
New York Forward, that was taken in that context, but there's other funding out there to take care of things, like,
Right, so I'm wondering if
So
something
there
were
is,
to take on
but-
South Byron, some year would have to be a separate thing.
no, I suppose between now and when we actually apply for something, we could find out more.
about rolling it into
We
one,
need to
two.
probably write it into the
Yeah, but it would be
comprehensive
more-
plan that it needs to be addressed.
The
more
thing
so.
is,
Yeah, but honestly, it would be
very
more
limited.
effective to put all the money in one
Right, that doesn't mean stop,
area.
it doesn't mean stop planning for other,
Well, it doesn't mean that some year down the road, we couldn't apply for another one for some.
and there's things to get, like facades on buildings that need them.
Yeah.
Or fake windows, if they can do it at Dollar General, can they do it,
So does
I'm
the
building-
barn.
do it on buildings in South Byron? If you provide the access to the funds, then there's, you have to incentivize people to want to do that,
Right, because they
Right.
probably have to contribute on their own.
Some other, there's,
Depends on what type of grant.
Start-
Some of them, yes, some of them,
Some-
not.
yes, that, we haven't even talked about those ones.
But we do have to get owner buy-in for anything.
And it's
And
administrating
two of the
those
four
funds.
corners are owned by the same person, so.
Is that post office, was there ever talk of closing that one down, South Byron?
Regularly, but they haven't done it yet. I don't know why, really don't.
I'll close my.
Actually, I was
Your
talking
man
to one of the
would come
post
to your door.
mistresses, and they said that South Byron does more business than Byron. I know people that I work with at the college that said it's easier to get in and out of South Byron, and they do business out here because it takes so long to do anything at the potato post office.
It's because
Oh, yeah.
South Byron doesn't have those little divots in the road.
Yeah. That's why a lot of people go to Stafford instead of
Mhm.
Cleveland.
Yeah.
All right, so our takeaways are, we're gonna figure out, so the 2 grants that are gonna help us with the comp plan, we're gonna figure out who we need buy-in from.
Right.
And then we really would need to meet like long before the last week of the month to have it all ready, right?
Yeah.
If that's good with everybody.
That's right, 'cause
How
our
are we gonna
June,
locate the charter?
where did the 6 months go?
Mhm.
Yeah.
So it,
How is
did you
what?
say
How are we
July
gonna locate the
30th?
charter?
I guess I'm gonna have to talk to, I'll leave
You want me to go around
Christie
to
an
the
email.
fall?
All right, stop that.
Email Christie to see what she can find, because I
It's
didn't,
playoffs, so
It
I'm,
needed to be said. Possibly.
When, was it July 30th or 31st, you said?
what is the 30th?
So on a Tuesday at 4 o'clock?
Could be.
Okay, it was weird, but.
New York.
Yeah.
They probably didn't realize July had 31 days.
Right? And April does not.
April does not.
I know, I wanted to say something, but there are not 31 days in April
I
or
was watching it
September.
online and it's like, oh my God, please don't tell me you signed the thing that gave them till April 31st.
What are you talking about? Did I miss something?
One of the board
The
members.
Board members.
They
Oh,
cut
You're
it
saying the
off April
contract
31st.
say it till
Oh, okay.
April 31st.
Okay,
and
oh,
then
yes, I was there, I remember that, okay.
Easy to do.
What was that little rhyme, remember they taught us in school, which was way too
30
long?
days.
Somebody counts knuckles too.
Yeah, don't do it on your knuckles too.
Right.
For some reason, I think it's the 30th. And it's not, I can't see it in here.
And then you're gonna attempt to try to get something going for August 3rd.
Yes, August 3rd, picnic in the park, 3 to 7, right? 3 to 7?
Yep.
3 to 6,
Yeah.
okay.
Are there any other topics? Because I'd like to go back to that if you don't mind for just a moment.
No, I think right now we're in a holding pattern, right?
Well,
To figure
I
out.
guess, are we good with nixing New York Forward any way, shape, or form?
Yeah, we're
Even if
not
it's
ready.
not due until September,
We
at
wouldn't
this
be
point,
ready by then either.
working with, as I said, I started to say this, with the letter that I got from Rob Richardson from Genesee Finger Lakes Regional Planning Council. Okay, he's gonna talk to his supervisor, to talk about, a partnership of helping get us through the stage, the 6 to 9 months of preparing for next year. Okay, as opposed to writing the application, pulling us through as, like, the stepchild type thing or whatever. Because they're very on board with it, they just need to have a little bit more commitment than our town is ready to give to them. I'm onboarding with them.
Is there a charge for their service?
Well, they're working on that, it'll be minimal. If so, they don't have, for this part, for the next year, that's what his boss is on vacation right now. So we just put this verbally together about their assistance. He offered to assist me any way, shape, or form he can, over the phone, etc., but their commitment to coming out and helping with programs or presentations and stuff like that.
TBD until he gets back.
Correct, because he doesn't have authority to give out those kinds of things. But that organization right now is trying to work on a way of self-funding as opposed to getting, they're funded through the state more so than anything, but they're trying to become more self-funding. So they're looking to possibly offer grant administration services and grant writing at, like, instead of $5,000 at a very discounted rate. Because if you're on board with their programs and the programs of the state, it makes things easier to do. And they're getting, for their help, they're getting something back, but it's not costing these smaller municipalities as much as it would for a consultant, which I'm very hesitant with a lot of services right now, whether it's legal, administrative, and stuff like that, based on some of the bills that we're getting and stuff. So something that the board will definitely be looking at next year.
And whatever we submit to the board, we need to have exactly costs and everything.
Correct.
Ready to go.
The budget season's coming up, so.
It is, I can't wait for it.
Yeah, it's
So do your forward, we're putting it on hold, we're not gonna go, we're not going forward this year,
With an application.
but we know kind of what we need to improve on the application from 2 years ago. So
As
that's
part
what
of
you're,
that, yes.
yes.
Well, I mean, look at it and then, I guess, start familiarizing yourself with that particular program. And then, I mean, that was 3 years ago. There's a lot of stuff that's come up since then. You know, we'll go back to the drawing board for some of these projects probably, you know. That just was there was a 3-month window, that happened to be the first round. And a small group of people back then thought it was important to get it across the states.
So somebody knew we were interested.
Correct. And that has brought about support from the county. I've been in touch with Felipe from the county planning board. He forwarded me a copy of the draft of the housing needs assessment for the county, which is being updated right now. All these things tie into each other, and if you're aware of them, you can plug and utilize those things and those sources that get documented in here. Because I know that I referred to several things in talking with Josh in here. We referred to several things that the county had said were priorities for the county. So in mirroring how we're going to address those issues, it's taking county problems, addressing them, and fixing our problems and part of the county's. And then you take those same things and do it with the state or the region, and it just makes you look better. But you have to know about them first.
Seems like you're really swimming uphill here. Like you, chicken and egg scenario where you have
Yes.
to know how much money you want before you get the grant, and you can't get the grant.
Yes, and one step. Well, the thing is, no matter what, you can't do anything if there is no plan. And that's where we stand right now.
Plan the work and work the plan.
There is no plan in this town for the next 30 years. You know,
All right.
whether Excelsior comes in, whether Dollar General comes in, you know, that whole Dollar General thing, I mean, there's stuff missing because nobody ever expected a Dollar General to want to be in Byron. You know, so
And there's one going in Virgin now.
I heard that too. So I mean, those are things that now all of a sudden things are cropping up. You can't wait for things to happen to make those decisions, and acting in a reactionary fashion doesn't put us ahead at all. So knowing some of the terms, knowing where the state stands, knowing all those things, you know, it's kind of, I find it kind of exciting. I can actually have conversations with people.
Is Josh willing to be a participant in this committee?
I believe so. How much he can give at this stage, I'm sure that throughout the process, he'll be involved. Right now, it's the height of auction season. So, I haven't been in touch with him all week.
Question in the back, or statement?
I got a quick question.
Yes?
Did NYSERDA ever come and do an energy audit of the building here?
Good question. No. Last year with the CERIC funds that were brought in for the $5,000 grant, one of the $5,000 grants was utilized for LED lighting in the new pavilion, I know. And then the second one of the town board members that left was supposed to be working on an energy audit and getting it set up for the town. However, that didn't come to fruition. We reapplied for it. Is it in there?
Yes. So
That we need one? Oh, no, but as of today, as of 4 o'clock today, we just got approved for, hang on, the benchmarking that Sarah Stockwell just updated for last year for the building was submitted and got approved. We have an energy audit at no cost to the town, got approved today. Okay, and then the $10,000 grant that Josh Kent did the highway vehicle inventory at the beginning of the year. He went through and did that, and we submitted it. We received a $10,000 grant. We applied for, at that time, an energy audit for the municipal building, and then anything above the audit, any recommendations, the additional funding would go towards the payment of those. So if the HVAC needed to be updated or something, the extra $3,000 could go towards that if that came about. However, with the $5,000 or the free grant, no, not the grant, the free audit triggers $10,000 of the grant funds to be used.
For improvements based on the audit.
Correct. Yeah, you've done this with Gloria before, haven't you?
Nice.
So
So is it in our comp plan to have an audit done? Oh, good.
Since 2019, so who implements this plan? since it is written in here since 2019, and the former supervisor and the former board has not done it.
Who?
Good question.
So going forward, could the board recommend somebody, a liaison, that will go through the comprehensive plan and make
I
sure,
would think that everyone should need to look at it at least, since they're
Yes.
making lots of decisions.
and then maybe start implementing what is actually written
Or seeing what needs to be changed already.
or changed?
That's a good question for board night.
Yes.
Do it in 3
Question.
minutes.
What's that?
Do it in 3 minutes.
She
All
just
right,
asked all those questions
so-
in less than 3.
You're gonna find out if we need a member of the board to be on this application. And when do you anticipate having that answer so that we can decide when we can meet again to have this all done by the end of the month?
That's a little specific. I think it needs to, we need to know if it can be the supervisor and/or a board, or the full board, and/or a standard citizen. We just need to find out who has the authority or an ability to present
So
those.
who will give us that information?
I will by Monday,
Okay.
if I have to break the door down. No, I'll ask for charter information to see where I could stand to make that decision. And if not, what we need to do, it may need a board resolution which is simple to do, whether it gets passed or not is another thing.
But do we need that resolution? Like, that's
We
what
don't
we
need
need
the-
to know.
We don't need the resolution
When do we need
to
it
move
passed?
forward.
Okay.
to move forward. Whether we get to submit or not, it might be based on that resolution, and that will be very telling.
We
Based
just
on the
need to
work
know
that we've
which
done so
path-
far.
We just need to know which path to go on.
Right.
So, okay, if you can get us that information, that'd be helpful.
So I'll do that by Monday, because
Okay.
I'll access the actual application, because if you go to the end of it, it's a little wonky, but it's doable.
So if we were to meet other times this month, which could not be on a Wednesday, because we're already meeting on Wednesdays for other things, is there another day during the week that everybody could do?
Not Thursday.
I don't have anything other than Thursday nights, I can't do Thursdays.
I'm
I have
here-
4 and 5 nights a week games, and they change every week, so.
I never knew you had 2 jobs.
I got.
Like, are Mondays
taxes.
good for anybody?
I have office hours on Monday, so I'm typically around every Monday night. So if there's nothing pressing, I'll probably be working on whatever this is anyway. And as soon as I access this, if you have everyone's email,
I don't have everyone's emails, I got everybody's text.
okay.
But we can send a paper around for emails.
I gotta tell you, July 1st, 15th, and 29th, I do not have any games.
Well, we would not have that information by the 1st.
First is court.
Yes? Well, I'm over there anyway.
Email, please. Name and email. Tom, do you want to be part of our committee?
I'm not sure yet.
Okay. I know how to find you anyways. You don't have to give me your email, I already got it.
And I encourage anybody to come to give any input that they have about anything, whether it's about forward, if there's an issue, I'm contactable in many ways.
I was gonna say, schedule your meetings, and then we can get like a little email group going, and
Well, once
I'll
the
give it
meetings are
input.
scheduled, they will be put on the website, and I don't know what the glitch was on that,
We hope.
except possibly it had to do with, I requested it to go on the calendar
do.
for the fourth Wednesday of the month, and I don't believe Christine knows how to access the calendar yet, and she may not have reached out to Sarah on how to put
what
things
about
on
our
the calendar.
deputy clerk?
I don't know, I wouldn't bother.
So, do we want to plan a meeting for Monday? Do you think you'll have the information for
This Monday?
Monday, which would be the first? That's a communications meeting
Mhm.
on Mondays then?
We have communications meeting on Monday,
Okay.
6 to 7, so at 7 o'clock, that will be fine.
Sure.
So we'll plan a meeting for Monday, hopefully we'll have the responses we need.
Oh, God, I can't
Yep.
wait.
July 1st.
So it seems like the
I can
board,
speak for us.
the town board doesn't want to move ahead with anything, and you're like trying to
They just
kick
shut
them in the ass
Something.
and say,
Right.
Or just when they catch up, we'll be ready.
Right now, they just wanna focus on getting the water and the sewer.
I'm sorry, what's that?
Which is
We can walk-
half
you gotta
understandable, but we
start
have
planning now.
to get, yes,
Emails.
yes, and that's what we wanted to start getting some planning done, so that when they're ready, and they say, okay, we can say, okay, we have all this, we have A, B, and C already ready for you.
Yeah.
Or else then we're just gonna be 5 years more behind.
Any other topics?
Okay, so let's go back to the picnic in the park real quick. Is
Yeah,
that-
I just
okay.
wanted to go back, we didn't talk about how we were going to get the word out. Is it gonna be at a town meeting, is it gonna be an email, is it gonna be hopefully the sign that's gonna go out front shortly?
And I have access to a sandwich board now too, that is in my office.
But
too.
did we get the sign from Byron, the fire hall? Did they give
I
us a
was-
sign?
The only time I talked to David was yesterday. It wasn't about the sign.
Okay, I heard that it was moved to somewhere in the vicinity here, but I haven't got confirmation.
I don't have
We
access
just
to
gotta
anything.
get it into the ground, right?
No, it's
Where's
portable.
it?
It's- Yeah, it's on wheels, I believe.
It is?
Yeah, we heard it was on a
Well,
truck
it was
at
the
one
sandwich,
point, but that's
not
all.
sandwich, it was the board that was in front of the fire department?
Yeah, but I thought that was in the
It
ground.
wasn't the ground, it was mounted, so I don't know what it's on, so.
Okay, if we can find out if we have it, I'd like to take a look at it, or have someone take a look at it, because again, that would be an
Would
opportunity.
you look, oh, never mind.
I don't wanna go back.
there's the Byron Virgin site on
Neighbors thing.
Yeah, there's
Facebook
the-
that's,
Facebook, there's.
Yeah.
Right, so there's that, the website, posted on the three news outlets.
Will the fire departments put it on their sign?
I'm sure if we asked them, that they probably would.
I'm saying we should have a communications plan on how to get the word out, that it's gonna be on that date and the time, and what to bring, and.
So can I come to your meeting on Monday?
Sure, of course.
The communication
So is it
meeting, and we can,
Yes.
I can bring it up and,
Absolutely.
okay.
So are we gonna do a dish to pass? Are we gonna try?
No, everybody just kind of bring their own picnic stuff.
With the possibility of sales of hot dogs, hamburgers from those other
We don't want
organizations if they choose to do so.
Mhm. Some games, visiting.
The music.
Okay. All right, yeah, I just wanted to, make sure that we had that in mind.
All right, we're meeting Monday at 7.
And if you want to come for the communications meeting, it's at 6. All right, anything else?
I just wanted to ask, the big project that's going in on 262, is that a solar?
You were talking about just before the Virgin line. That is called the Route 262 Solar Project. And it's by Green Street Power Partners is the developer. And it is a 5 megawatt community solar project.
That's separate from
It's separate.
Excelsior.
It's separate.
Yes.
There are 2 community solar projects in the town of Byron that are cited. Just some background information. The hosting agreement has not been fully established with that particular developer, and the town attorney is working on that. And the CERIC group has asked in that hosting agreement to have included that, and I have not talked, she was trying to get that done today also, back and forth with the developer. A percentage of the subscriptions that they sell of that be
Byron Russell.
for Byron residents. And by doing so, the CERIC group can get those subscriptions, document them for NYSERDA, and then by doing this as part of the campaign that they're working on right now for a community solar campaign, community campaign, that would bring another token amount of grant funding to the actual town for the coffers by what CERIC's doing of promoting those projects. But it had to be NYSERDA approved to even do that campaign. So getting it into the hosting agreement is like a bonus, because then it forces the contractor to give us those spots. A lot of times once these projects are cited, the subscriptions are filled before
I guess I don't understand what you mean by
subscriptions.
Yeah.
So a community solar project is a project, do you get the little letters in the mail from Nexamp that says, oh, join our,
I'm not sure if I've seen that or not.
they're asking you to sign up for a solar project in your area, which is anywhere in National Grid, and you'll get a 10% reduction in your electric bill by doing so, and your energy is being drawn off of a solar project in the National Grid territory. So by you subscribing to that, CERIC has got a campaign to get residents to sign up for that. We could do it with anybody, but because these two projects are cited in Byron, it was designed to piggyback with them, because a lot of the big complaints of the Next Era project was, we're not going to get anything from that because it's all going downstate. It's a different type of project. It's an industrial project, the Excelsior project is. The community solar projects are this side of the grid, and they're actually in your own territory.
So the power's actually coming here?
It stays
That's what we're
within
trying to
National
get.
Grid territory.
It's to get it
I
so that
think
we
the
can.
one that goes on the farm, that one's supposed to be a Byron.
Yes, I
Well,
remember
that's
reading
part of-
something.
That second one, part of the hosting agreement is to ask them to set aside a certain percentage or number of subscriptions for Byron or local residents first, before someone from,
Because that's come to like a screeching halt. It was supposed to happen in April, and now they're saying not till the fall or.
everything with those is hurry up and wait and hurry up and wait. Because the project that Tom is referring to was supposed to be cited, or started, I think, a year ago. Everything got put onto extensions.
You know, the one on the family farm was supposed to start in April, and then they were saying fall, now they're saying maybe a little later.
Is there still there was a referendum where there were no new solar? Is
Where?
that in the town? I remember coming to
That-
a meeting a couple of years ago.
That referendum, I think, was only good for a year. It expired. And that was due to when Excelsior, the town hadn't updated their solar law at that time, so they put a moratorium on all solar in the town of Byron, I think for a year.
I thought it was over 25 acres.
No,
No.
the
The
moratorium,
moratorium was for the fall.
it was for the full, because that even stopped anybody from putting a solar installation on their house.
Because I noticed that the house next to Filarino's has new panels, so.
Correct, they just did that this past winter, I think.
Yeah, okay.
So no, that moratorium is expired, they did not renew that, and that did include the small housing ones, which there were some people against that just kind of,
My neighbor has them on his roof, and I gotta tell you, they've never had any effect on me. My
as far as she
front
knows,
door.
no kidding.
So all perfectly normal.
So they think.
So,
Oh, must be normal.
All right, well, thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
I'm
you
excited
for-
for this little get-together that we're gonna have. I'm glad that we're putting this on hold for a while, because in looking at the application project, I was like, yeah, there's no way we're gonna be ready for this by the end of August.
The
so.
challenge is still gonna be to get the
No, you can keep that if you
board
want.
members to see that it
Yeah,
doesn't have to be
totally.
done right now.
Yeah, and that's some of the information that Candace is going to get for us.
Right.
Yeah. So I think the comp
I
plan is
just
a good
like-
plan.
I get very anxious over stuff, because in my world, the clock has been ticking.
I know everybody's talking about downtown, but it just, to me, you go any direction from the four corners a quarter mile, and it's like Byron just stops. I mean, it's just fields.
Right, and that.
There's no house here and there.
Well, and there's a reason for that, because we're considered an agricultural community. Much of the land that once you get outside of that, quarter mile,
Mhm.
is in an ag district, it's farmland. There's building constraints on that based on
Okay.
several factors, starting at the state, the county, and town zoning type things. So the concentration in the hamlet is kind of forced upon based on some of those layers.
Mm-hmm. It'd be hard to start anything out there, you're saying.
Well, yeah,
If
that
there's
doesn't
a
mean that
variance
we
as
don't
well.
need, that doesn't mean we don't need some kind of growth though. Because you're sitting in the North Byron area, you're sitting in the sewer district. We need to get as much growth in the hamlets, whether it's North Byron, South Byron, or Byron, concentrated in there so that that EDU charge for that new sewer system that they're proposing
Mm-hmm.
isn't as gonna be as painful as it will be if we don't get a little bit more growth and a little more, well, a lot more funding.
But I
Because-
mean, there's also, I mean, aside from what we're talking about outside of our scope, I mean, you and I touched on it once. I drive around just down through South Byron and there's some houses that have just totally have gone. I mean, there's a house on Freeman Road that they park 7 vehicles in this little short driveway, totally across the front. There is no lawn anymore. And the people on either side, it's dangerous for them to even try and get out of their own driveway. They also get people parking in the road. I came home from work one night, 11 o'clock at night. There's this pickup truck, a black one, and a huge trailer behind it, sitting in the middle of Freeman Road. And this house is noted for it, and it's just stuff like that.
And they're registered vehicles?
Yeah, they're registered, but is that supposed to be a rooming house? I don't think so, because my cousin, when he owned it, was told it's not a rooming house.